A new report from the German publication Auto, Motor und Sport says that Red Bull is now thinking about either moving its junior team, Scuderia Alpha Tauri, to England or selling it to one of the many teams that want to join Formula One in the near future. This is a result of new oversight from recently appointed Red Bull sports executive Oliver Mintzlaff, who is bringing the team under scrutiny due to its questionable business model. This means that the American motorsport giant Michael Andretti might join the grid without having to pay as much money. But will he? Recently, new shocking revelations have surfaced, which may mean bad news for the motorsport legend. More on that later, but before we get into the video, we'd like to let you know that we're doing a giveaway when we reach 1,000 subscribers. It's going to be a $100 gift card to the Formula One store online. To enter, you just need to subscribe and comment on each video until we reach 1,000 subscribers. Now, let's get on with the video. The Alpha Tauri team, which used to be called Scuderia Toro Rosso and was a junior team for Red Bull, now it's a team on its own. Its headquarters are in Italy, but work on the aerodynamics is still done in England. This, in addition to the team's low prize money returns in the constructors' standings, the problems of the fashion brand Alpha Tauri, after which the team is named, and Red Bull Racing's shift away from focusing on driver development since Max Verstappen became its star of the future.
Well done, mate. You've won it. Totally dominant. That was absolutely fantastic. Well done.
All of these things make Alpha Tauri less of a business than it's ever been, while 3 different groups are trying to get into Formula One as a way to grow. Red Bull is reportedly thinking about moving the team to England, where it would work better with the other 8 Formula One teams and with its own aerodynamics work. That could work in the short term, but the team wouldn't be very useful for a Red Bull program that is clearly focused on winning championships with its senior team. The other choice is to sell the business as a whole. Not surprisingly, the bidders in that market would be Andretti, Cadillac, Hi-Tech Grand Prix, and the Mumbai Falcons race team, which had already said they wanted to join F1 as new teams. Hi-Tech used to get a lot of money from Nikita Mazepin's father Dmitry. They've worked with Red Bull's junior team before, so Amos thinks that they're most likely to buy the program.
Michael Andretti could well be on his way to a win. One more corner and it doesn't look like Castro Neves is going to have what it takes. They come off of the corner. Michael Andretti roars toward the finish line, and Michael Andretti takes his 38th victory.
Michael Andretti has been making plans for a long time to join Formula One. He recently made a huge move by teaming up with Cadillac to help him get into the sport. But most teams, especially the best ones, voted against it because the money would be split among the 10 teams even more. During the conflict, Red Bull was one of the main groups that didn't want Andretti to join the sport. The German report suggests that this could happen though. The F1 team can sell its sister team because the cost of running it are too high. Taking care of an F1 team is not easy. Even with a cost cap, the sport is still very pricey. Because they always end up in the middle of the field, the Red Bull-owned team isn't getting enough return on the money they put into it. So the team based in Fonza could be sold. There are 3 interested buyers right now. Andretti is the first and the biggest party, followed by Hi-Tech GP. Indian billionaires Amit Harjinder Gadak and Navjeet Gadak, who own Mumbai Falcons, the team that pushed Jehan Daruvala for the McLaren test, could also make a bid. But Red Bull could also keep from selling their sister team. Another option is to move the team from Fonza and put them in England, which would cut the cost of running the business by a small amount. So things could stay as they are. Alpha Tauri is still important to Red Bull because it lets drivers from their academy join F1 without making alliances. If it goes away, Red Bull's academy, which is thought to be the best in the business, might lose some of its appeal, since hopefuls know that the energy drink company has 4 seats on the grid. What would happen to Alpha Tauri if this goes through? Well, assuming Andretti is able to buy the Italian team, the first question would be who the American team will get rid of. Andretti made it clear from the start that if they joined F1, they would bring an American driver with them. Colton Herta is their top choice, and Yuki Tsunoda and Nick De Vries are Alpha Tauri drivers right now. If Herta has to take the seat, both drivers will have to fight for the 2024 seat, just like Sergio Perez and Esteban Ocon did at Racing Point in 2018. But recently, news sources say that the 10 current teams want the anti-dilution fee to be raised to at least $600 million. One team principal told Autosport that this was the lowest number that had been mentioned, that it could go higher. If the new number is accepted, Michael Andretti might have to rethink his plans to join General Motors' Cadillac brand, which are based on the current number. Andretti still has the chance to buy an existing team, even though Sauber and other teams have already said no. The possible increase in entry fees comes at the same time as news that Red Bull's bosses are thinking about what to do with Alpha Tauri. They could sell it or keep it and move it to the UK. Andretti has asked about buying the Italian team in the past, and those talks could start up again now. Red Bull's price is likely to be much higher than the potential $600 million cost of a new entry, but Andretti would have a good starting point with the Faenza factory and the UK-based aerodynamic department, and it wouldn't be paying its competitors. The original $200 million anti-dilution fee was agreed upon as part of the current Concord Agreement, which was signed in August 2020 and covers the seasons from 2021 to 2025. It makes sure that any new team will give a one-time payment of $20 million to each of the 10 teams already in the league. It was meant to make up for the fact that the current teams might lose prize money because a new team could have joined as early as 2022 and taken a piece of the total prize money for the last 4 seasons of the Concord Agreement. Andretti tried to get into F1 by buying an existing team, but that didn't work. He then decided to start from scratch and get a new entry. So he is ready to pay the $200 million and enter as soon as 2025, which is the last year of the Concord. In January, the FIA made it official that new teams could join by putting out a call for expressions of interest for a race in 2025, 2026 or 2027. This was the first step in the process. Andretti, Hi-Tech and Panthera Asia are the 3 teams that are thought to have taken this step. The anti-dilution fee will only matter if a potential team passes all the checks and is provisionally accepted by the FIA. If that happens, it will be a big topic of discussion because, as Andretti's bid gained steam last year, other teams made it clear that they didn't think the current $200 million fee was enough.
And it's lights out and away we go! And Bottas gets away very nicely indeed!
The number was decided in the summer of 2020 when COVID was at its worst and the delayed F1 season was just getting started with races held without fans. At the time, the finances of several teams were very tight, and there was a real fear that one could go out of business. Some teams were actively looking for new buyers or investors. When Williams was sold to Dorilton that summer, it gave a rough idea what a team was worth at the time. In the last 3 years, things have changed a lot. The cost cap have kept costs down, and Drive to Survive has helped the teams make more money. All the teams are now in good shape, and some are even turning away potential buyers. The values of the current teams have gone up a lot, and they're worried about how an 11th team could change things. Team bosses say publicly that they trust the FIA and F1 to run a fair process for new teams to join and decide if any of the bids are viable. They also stress that any new team must bring something to the championship. But the announcement of a partnership between GM and Cadillac seemed to help Andretti's bid. Behind closed doors though, rival teams are still determined to keep the field at 20 cars, and the manufacturer's support is mostly seen as a branding exercise. From 2026 on, there will be a new Concord with a much larger anti-dilution fee. This is why Andretti wants to join in 2025 and run 1 season under the current engine formula. But the teams that are already in the race want to change the 2025 fee that was agreed upon in the current Concord, even though the entry bid process has already begun. There is a way for this to happen, and all 10 current teams and the F1 organisation would have to agree for the fee to go up. After months of talking about it, it looks like this is about to happen. Andretti has made it clear that he's willing to spend the $200 million, but it's still unclear how he and his investors will react if they're given the higher number out of the blue. A change like this could even be fought in court, which could be seen as a barrier to entry. Technically, the anti-dilution fee is tied to the potential loss of prize money if an 11th team is added, but the existing teams are tying it to the potential value of an entry as a whole. The $600 million number is thought to come from the most recent deal, which was the sale of Sauber to Audi, and is likely to be a point of disagreement. With so many interested parties on the market and simplified engine regulations coming in 2026, expect discussions of expansions and acquisitions to dominate the Formula One rumour market throughout 2023. Until then, Alpha Tauri will continue in Formula One as its own team. The program will run third-year development driver Yuki Tsunoda and rookie Nick de Vries this season. So, do you think that Andretti will end up taking over Alpha Tauri and thus making it another American-based team? Let us know in the comments below, and as always, see you next time.